That's why I'm so feared. That's why they feared me when I was in the ring, because I was an annihilator. That's all I was born for. And now those days are gone. It's empty.
Mike Tyson's tragedy is not a single event. It is a lifetime of violence, loss, and survival. Each chapter feeding the next in a cycle that began before he ever threw a punch. That is the story of Iron Mike. And this is where it starts. The making of a monster. Mike Tyson was born at Cumberland Hospital in Fort Greene, Brooklyn. His birth certificate listed a Jamaican cab driver named Purcell Tyson as his father. But the man Mike actually grew up knowing, Jimmy Kirkpatrick, a pimp and street hustler from North Carolina, abandoned the family around the time of Mike's birth, or by age 2 at the latest. The exact timing varies by source. What doesn't vary is this. Kirkpatrick died without ever reconciling with his son. Tyson grew up with his mother Lorna, his older brother Rodney, and his sister Denise, who would die in 1990, in a string of welfare-dependent apartments that got poorer with each move.
At one time it looked nice, and then I realized that we had to move, and then the more we moved, the darker it got. The less white people.
When Tyson was young, the family relocated to Brownsville. At the time, Brownsville was one of the most dangerous zip codes in America. Murder rates tripled the national average, open drug markets, burned out buildings left over from the riots and white flight of the 1960s and 70s.
Brownsville was just, it was just, whoa, real aggressive and black, you know? And
whatever could be done to a human being, it was being done there. And young Mike Tyson, pudgy, lisping, high-pitched voice, was an easy target. He described his home life as anything but safe. His mother was frequently absent. He watched men abuse her. He recalled her boyfriend knocking out her gold tooth and her retaliating by pouring boiling water on him. Tyson later tied those scenes to the root of his emotional and sexual dysfunction.
grew up, I didn't feel safe at home. My mother, like I was saying, my mother, very promiscuous. My father's a pimp.
Cool. He was a dropout in everything but name, skipping class to avoid the humiliation that waited in the hallways. He has said he never felt his mother was proud of him, that she only ever knew him as a wild kid running the streets. The streets, though, were where his story took its first sharp turn. Tyson kept pigeons on the rooftop. He built coops, raced them, raised them. They were the one thing in his world that required no violence, no armor, no toughness. Then one day, an older teenager grabbed his favorite bird.
Right, I'm a pigeon guy. I always fly birds, pigeons.
Yeah.
So, my first fight, this guy took one of my pigeons, and so I said, please, you might.
Tyson was young. The other kid was older.
You fat. So he took my birds, he ripped my bird's head off, and he hit me with.
Something broke open in him that day. Not just grief.
I never fought nobody before. I fought back, and you know what? I can fight real.
Something harder. That single exchange, a dead pigeon, a first punch, a crowd of witnesses, became the origin point of the most feared heavyweight in boxing history. Neighborhood kids started bringing opponents from other blocks to fight him for money.
Money, yeah. Well, you know, guys would give me. I would just fight people from different neighborhoods.
But there was something far darker buried in that same period. Something Tyson kept silent for decades. As a young child, walking the alleys of Brooklyn alone, Tyson was grabbed off the street by an unknown older man, dragged into a building and molested. He escaped by running. He never told anyone. He buried it for decades. When he finally disclosed it publicly, and again in an ESPN interview with Jeremy Schaap, he was reluctant and direct in equal measure. He said it made him have to be tough for the world he lived in. By the time he was older, Mike Tyson had been arrested dozens of times. Petty theft, fighting, truancy. He cycled through the Spofford Juvenile Center in the Bronx multiple times. He watched Muhammad Ali visit the kids there once and saw the staff, the same people who ran the facility with fear, break down crying in Ali's presence.
Muhammad Ali comes and visits the kids. The rest, you know, the kids that are fucked up in this juvenile.
The idea that power, real power, could make the most frightening people in a room go quiet lodged itself in Tyson's mind permanently. Eventually, he was transferred to Tryon School for Boys in Johnstown, New York. There, a boxing coach named Bobby Stewart, a former Golden Gloves champion, spotted something uncontainable in him and drove Tyson to meet Cus D'Amato, the legendary trainer of Floyd Patterson and Jose Torres. D'Amato watched Tyson spar 3 rounds. He told Stewart, "Bobby, barring outside distractions, that is the heavyweight champion of the world and possibly the universe." Tyson cried. He was young. He had been arrested dozens of times, molested as a child, abandoned by his father at birth, raised in a war zone. And now an old boxing man in the Catskills was looking at him and seeing a champion. Tyson later said that without D'Amato, he would have been dead or locked up forever. After his mother Lorna died of cancer, D'Amato became his legal guardian. Tyson moved upstate full-time. He dropped out of high school. He trained every day. What followed was one of the most compressed ascents in sports history. Mike Tyson knocked out WBC champion Trevor Berbick to become the youngest heavyweight champion in history. By the following year, he held the WBC, WBA, and IBF belts simultaneously. He was undisputed. The kid from Brownsville, who had nothing, had become the most feared man on the planet. But D'Amato had died just before Tyson's first title shot. And with him went the one person who had ever truly managed the monster he helped build. What came next was not a boxing story. Fame, chaos, and the fall. The version of Mike Tyson that the world fell in love with in the late 1980s was something genuinely terrifying in the most entertaining sense. Fighting men who outweighed him and knocking most of them out in under 3 rounds. Pay-per-view records collapsed. The money poured in.
Because that guy gave them a drug, and that drug was excitement. Like you turn on the TV, like, oh shit, here.
Tyson himself, looking back in conversation with Joe Rogan, was far less celebratory about who that man had been.
Press conference a long time ago, what I'm saying, these guys, I would never talk.
Man the world cheered for was a man Tyson didn't like very much.
That guy.
Yeah.
You know, people love that. I didn't like that guy that much. So I have conflicting with people that like that guy and me living my life.
The cracks started showing almost immediately after the titles came. Tyson married actress Robin Givens after a short courtship. The marriage collapsed within a year. Givens sat next to Tyson on ABC's 2020 with Barbara Walters, and with Tyson seated silently beside her, described the marriage as torture, pure hell, saying she had become afraid of him. Tyson initially denied the extent of the abuse. He later admitted in Undisputed Truth and in a later Oprah appearance that he had hit her. When asked directly about his treatment of women in a later interview, he didn't reach for excuses.
I'm a human being. I've abused women. Women abused me. It was like a twin blade. We both abused each other, you know? And that's just...
The marriage ended. The legal and financial fallout bled into years. Then came Indianapolis. Tyson met an 18-year-old pageant contestant at a rehearsal event. He invited her to his hotel suite. She alleged he raped her. He maintained it was consensual. She reported it to police hours later. He was convicted of rape and criminal deviant conduct. He was sentenced to years in prison, ultimately spending time at the Indiana Youth Center before his release on parole. He had been undisputed heavyweight champion of the world, and now he was in a prison cell. He converted to Islam. He read, he reflected. He emerged with his jaw clenched and his career in ruins, and immediately began rebuilding, fighting again. But there was a rage inside him now that had nowhere clean to go. It found its most surreal outlet in Las Vegas. The WBA heavyweight rematch between Tyson and Evander Holyfield, who had stopped Tyson in their first meeting, became one of the most infamous nights in boxing history. After a series of headbutts and clinches, Tyson bit off a piece of Holyfield's right ear, spat it on the canvas, then bit his left ear. Referee Mills Lane disqualified him. The Nevada Athletic Commission revoked his license and fined him millions. The night dissolved into chaos. Tyson was ejected from the ring. A brawl broke out ringside. The most feared man in heavyweight boxing, the kid from Brownsville who had clawed his way to the very top of the world, had just gotten himself banned from the sport in one of the strangest minutes in sports history. Tyson blamed the headbutts. Holyfield denied intentional fouling. What wasn't in dispute was the image. Iron Mike crouching over an older, smaller opponent, biting him like an animal. The bite fight didn't destroy Tyson's career. He was reinstated, but it destroyed something else. It confirmed for a lot of people the story they had already written about him. that beneath the trophies and the paychecks, there was something that couldn't be tamed.
So that's why they feared me when I was in the ring, because I was annihilated. That's all I was born.
He had been built from a young age to be a weapon. The problem was weapons don't know when to stop.
And now those days are gone. It's empty. I'm not.
Emptiness that followed his ring dominance. That vacuum left when the one identity he had ever truly owned was stripped away, was the thing Mike Tyson could never quite survive. Not in the late 1990s, not in the early 2000s, and not decades later. Millions earned and a bankruptcy filing. Mike Tyson filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection, listing millions in debt. Despite having earned an estimated fortune across his career from fights, endorsements, and appearances between the 1980s and 2000s, it was all gone. The list of purchases read like a challenge to make it all disappear as fast as possible. Multiple mansions, more than 50 luxury cars, Bentleys, Ferraris, gold bathtubs, private jets, a personal entourage that numbered in the dozens and cost a fortune just to maintain, and infamously Bengal tigers, which cost tens of thousands of dollars per month in care alone. Multiple divorces added their own financial weight. His first separation carried settlements and legal fees. His second divorce added more. Lawsuits piled on from all directions. And then there was Don King. Tyson filed a $100 million lawsuit against his longtime promoter, alleging King had defrauded him, skimming from purses, hiding fees, and underpaying him across years of some of the most lucrative bouts in boxing history. The lawsuit was eventually settled. King denied any wrongdoing, but the money Tyson believed had been stolen was gone, regardless of what a settlement said. Taxes finished what the excess had started. Tyson reflected with no glamour and no performance on what was left.
That we're talking about and we reminisce about, that's never going to appear again. I'm never going to be no billionaire, multi-hundred millionaire type guy again. I'm going to always have to live this kind of life. I'm always going to be taking care of my children. I'm going to be paying my monthly note, my yearly bills, and there's nothing glamorous that's going to happen in it.
The bankruptcy wasn't only financial. It was the moment that confirmed what had been quietly true for years, that the empire built on his fists had no foundation beneath it. No financial literacy was developed after childhood poverty. No trusted advisors with genuine loyalty. No system for protecting what had been earned. When D'Amato died, Tyson not only lost a trainer, he lost the only adult in his professional life who had any real authority over him. What replaced D'Amato's structure was an entourage economy. People whose livelihoods depended on Tyson's spending, not saving. A road rage incident led to jail time. An arrest for DUI and cocaine possession. Each one a flash of the old chaos breaking through the surface. He was, by his own admission, a full-blown addict. Cocaine from as far back as childhood. Alcohol, marijuana. The substance abuse ran beneath all of it, through all of it, powering the excess and the violence and the inability to sit still.
Some cocaine for a week. I had to get high. I had to get high. I couldn't handle it.
That quote came from a conversation about something far heavier than bankruptcy. But the pattern described was the same. When life became too much to face, Tyson had one response. The same response he'd had since Brownsville. You find a way to survive the pain and ask questions later. By the early 2000s, the money was gone. The titles were ancient history. The era of dominance was a decade in the rearview mirror. What remained was a man in his late 30s, broke, with demons that had never been addressed, and a sport that still had some use for his name. Even if his body was no longer what it had been, he kept fighting, not because he loved it. He later admitted money was the primary reason he continued fighting past the point when he should have stopped. Post-bankruptcy, something did slowly, partially shift. He began appearing in films. His role in The Hangover was a cultural reset of sorts, a reminder that there was charm beneath the chaos. He launched a podcast that revealed a reflective, searching quality in him that the ring persona had always obscured. He started a cannabis company and later another, taking the CEO chair. He got sober from hard drugs, but the financial scars meant he was never fully free. The years of fighting past his prime, of saying yes to exhibition bouts and comeback offers, were never purely about love of the sport. They were about making the numbers work, the death of